Also, I think there's some, I don't know, what's the word? Not precedent, but, there's a little bit of a good point in saying that I'm a mimic in the sense, I don't think I'm a mimic. I think what maybe some people are picking up on is the fact that, I do offensive magic. I wouldn't go so far as to call myself a black magician or anything. Stuff. Um, so I think there's some, also I think there's some, I don't know, what's the word? Not precedent, but, there's a little bit of a good point in saying that I'm a mimic in the sense, I don't think I'm a mimic. I think what maybe some people are picking up on is the fact that, I do offensive magic. I wouldn't go so far as to call myself a black magician or anything. But I do some stuff. I think spiritually, and I've argued this in a few, group chats and such, spiritually you need to fight the war. You need to strap on the full armor of God. You need to, string the bow, break the arrows of the enemy. It's a war, it really is. And I think really anyone, who neglects the warfare portion or thinks it's unnecessary or dark is spiritually bypassing on that front. Not to throw some shade or anything, but just, the Bible literally says, strap on the full armor of God. Not that I'm a huge Bible fan, but, that's my philosophy about it. Honestly, most of the biggest headways I've been able to, the most I've been able to increase my momentum spiritually and things like that has been through offensive magic. And I have some passive defenses as well. I hope nobody that I like or whatever is triggering them, but they're there for a reason, and the biggest reason is Rosicrucians at this point. I'm involved in astral warfare some portion of the time. So it may be that, you guys are picking up on that a little bit. Whatever. So, yeah, I just wanted to say these things and, kind of get what you guys are talking about. I do get the feeling it has to do with me mentioning the Greys. I also talked about talking to the Greys a bunch. I'm interested in them. Sometimes I talk to these guys and I decide I don't like them. I don't know. We'll see how everything goes. So, yeah. Anyways, take care. Okay, I was thinking, and I'll have a video come out about this, I think, before too long. I did some thinking over the whole, thing that, me being a mimic, whatever that particularly means, it's not come up very clearly. So, the thing is, I'm kind of getting the sense that maybe I said something about the Greys not being us from the future, and, to me, it maybe seems like that's the difference, or that's what's changed people's opinion of me. Okay, maybe it resonates for other people that, the Greys are us in the future. I've met the Greys, and they don't feel even 1 ounce human, and it doesn't make sense to me that we would evolve to that point. it just doesn't make sense. Honestly, I don't think humans are smart enough to become like the Greys anytime soon. And you know, I don't feel that in their evolution. And you know, I have a lot of sensitivity in that sort of way, but it's not just that, their core life force, because that's the thing, is when you meet aliens, their entire life force is different. I like to compare it to, like, like, you know, when you meet a black person and they're like from Africa or something, or they're from the hood or something, and it's a very different life force. That's kind of like what aliens are like. And you know, we can even observe this between different races here on Earth, because actually we are from different, you know, we are descended from different alien races. You know, so I'll say probably the most shocking difference though has been the Greys. Just how alien they are in their base energy. I felt similar about the Palladians a long time before that, but I kind of got used to them. I've only met them a few times, but you know, I think they have some background presence in my life. Anyways, you know, if it resonates with someone else though that the Greys are, you know, us from the future, you know, whatever, cool. I guess if it, you know, quote unquote resonates. I'm a, you know, take what resonates type guy. I do think there should be, you know, we should be considering what the precedent for such things are, and, you know, determining what we're actually feeling, and being able to discriminate what spirits are what, and all that. I think, for me, I guess I would just pose the question, you know, where is that resonance actually coming from? Because I think, you know, a Muslim is in Islam, and Islam is going to resonate for them, and the fact that all magic and occult practices are evil, according to especially Sunni Muslims, you know, that's gonna resonate. It's their thing. It's the energy of their religion. It's what the spirits of their religion are imposing. You know, to a Christian, a lot of the things that I'm doing, it's gonna resonate that, you know, I'm on a path to hell. It doesn't resonate for me that I'm on a path to hell, because first of all, I'm not. You know, you know. So I think it's worth wondering where this resonance is coming from, and to understand that, like, especially that feeling of what resonates. It is a resonance of some phenomenon out in the universe, right? But you know, there's a lot of narratives I've found that their resonance is basically a spell. So, you know, like, I'll talk about politics in this, left versus right. A lot of people are so sure and are so wrapped up, and you know, there's a resonance there. And this is a really, you know, simple, you know, kind of breaking it down to the almost the simplest example. You know, for someone like that, that's their reality. People having very simplistic ideas about things, but there's a spirit behind it. There's an egregore, right? And you know, so I think it's important to make the statement that resonance doesn't necessarily, just because, you know, you throw your awareness and something comes back, doesn't mean you're seeing something that's actually real. It's just, yeah, you're picking up on something, you know, perhaps it's a spell. So I would just pose that, and to consider that perhaps some of the things that, you know, that resonate, or especially things that are common, narratives in the UFO community, are, I would say, mostly CIA psyopses. I would especially mention Zecharia Sitchin's work, and I mean, it's literally published by Disinfo Incorporated, and also the work of Asha Nadim. I think those are the most egregious examples that I know of. So there's that. You know, keep in mind also that a lot of the fuel of this came from a dude writing stories that the Shaver mysteries. I think he was onto some really interesting stuff, but a lot of the fuel of the UFO community actually comes from that. That being said, a lot of sci-fi writers were actually part of the OTO, or were, friends with such people. Like, apparently Ray Bradbury used to go and play board games with OTO members. So, just to think about who's in what organization, or, rubbing shoulders with the CIA potentially, or whatever. I mean, a friend just recently told me that apparently a scientist who is a member of the OTO was getting grants from Epstein to make consciousness transferal stuff, and he had basically this helmet that would take a brain scan of him in his Manhattan apartment. All public in the Epstein files, according to my friend. Julian, so a lot of weird stuff going on. I think it's worth thinking twice, Like, I was interested in the Inter Christo stuff, but eventually I've come to feel like it doesn't make sense. Okay, it resonated at some point, but, and I guess what I'm trying to say here is that I think it resonates as a good indicator of taking next steps of exploration. I don't think it's a good, full measure of how true something is. That can't be the case, or else, practically, what's the conversation at that point? I mean, anyone can just have a good feeling about anything and say that makes it true.